Richard Engel is here in person, thankfully, NBC News' chief foreign correspondent. Hi, Richard.
It's great to, you know what? I say it's great to be here. It's great to be with you.
Yeah.
But I'm anxious to get out of this suit and go back to work.
I have to say, though, it's nice to see you in the flesh and see that you're safe. I want to talk Gaza. What is the situation like on the ground right now?
People are starving. People are bombed. People don't know where to go to find safety. I speak to people in Gaza every day, or almost every day. It seems hopeless. I think for a while, the people in Gaza were able to kind of hold on and feel that we have so much solidarity and we will never give in, but their will is starting to break.
Why does it seem to be so incredibly difficult to get aid to these Palestinians that desperately need it right now?
It's not difficult. You want to get people aid, you can get people aid. It's just not the system that's set up. The system that's set up is Israel has locked Gaza with a ring of steel and is only allowing certain convoys to get in there. And they're using this Israeli and U.S.-backed group with American mercenaries to distribute aid, and people are getting killed when they trying to collect aid. I speak with aid workers all the time who say, we're ready. We could do this. And we could do this without it getting to Hamas.
But a lot of them aren't even allowed to operate in Gaza
None of them
anymore.
are allowed to operate. They can't operate there. And they don't want to cooperate with this current setup, which has Palestinians coming to these aid collection points only to be shot. They don't want to be part of that, because then you're legitimizing this system, which clearly isn't working. It's about 1,000 people dead now so far, shot and killed while coming to collect aid.
Western journalists are still not allowed into Gaza without an IDF companion.
That's not like you can just call up the IDF and say, take me into
Gaza.
Gaza.
I want to go. Yeah.
It's very rare that the IDF takes journalists in, but they do.
The one time you went in, what did you see?
So I used to go into Gaza a lot.
Before October 7th.
Before October 7th. I would spend months at a time in the West Bank and Gaza, and often overnight there. And it wasn't that complicated, frankly. Since October 7th, and since Gaza was closed off, I've been inside with the Israeli military one time. And it's a dog and pony show. You know, they take you and they show you what you want to show, what they want to show you. But they can't, hide the destruction, and nor were they trying to hide the destruction. So we were there for the day and drove around Rafah, and just utter devastation.
And when was this?
This was months ago.
Yeah.
And it was uninhabitable then. The infrastructure is so torn up. The buildings are so torn up. It needs to be
leveled
rebuilt.
and rebuilt.
Leveled and rebuilt. But there has to be the will to do it.
Richard Engel, thank you. Hi, Aaron.
Yes, it's great to be here with you.
Thanks for being with us. Let's talk about what's continuing to happen in Gaza on the ground. And I think the overarching question here is, how does this end?
When it comes to the Middle East, I don't like the word pessimist. I guess I would describe myself as Jack Kennedy described himself, as an idealist without illusion. And on Gaza, I have a pretty grim sort of outlook, because the three problems that are necessary to resolve, I don't think are any closer to resolution, nor do I see the key actors as willing to step up to deal with them. Number one is, who or what is going to govern Gaza? Will Hamas, according to the Israeli Prime Minister and his concept of total victory, be demolished? Will the senior leadership be expelled and what remains of the military organization dismantled? Question number one. Number two, who or what is going to guarantee no resurgence by Hamas or any other Palestinian group in Gaza? Number three, the toll, the humanitarian catastrophe we're witnessing, the degree of suffering, malnutrition, the absence of access to potable water, sanitation. Who or what is going to address not just the humanitarian issue, but the costs and consequences of reconstruction?
The situation that you describe and the reports that we're getting in of extreme starvation, 1 in 3 people going without food. And what many people around the globe are looking for, and especially the Palestinians right now, is an end to it all. And you've written on social media that you think really the only person that can bring an end to this war is President Trump. Why would he be inclined to do so when it didn't seem like the Biden administration had any inclination to end this war during their own time in the White House?
That's a very good question. I've also written that unlike any other president or administration I worked for, from Jimmy Carter to Bush 43, no president over the last 6 months of a term has both sidelined the government of Israel and marginalized it, as well as making it central to Trump's strategy. In March, he, without Israeli acquiescence or approval, he opened up a dialogue with Hamas, 3 meetings. He cut a deal with the Houthis, about which the Israelis learned after the fact. He removed sanctions on the Shara government in Syria over the objections of an Israeli prime minister. And in the company of that prime minister, he announced direct negotiations with Iran, which have not proven to be successful, to say the least, but again, going against what Prime Minister Netanyahu. So Donald Trump has demonstrated, frankly, what almost no president that the administration I worked for has demonstrated, which is a capacity to act independently without seeking Israel's approval or acquiescence. At the same time, however, and you saw it in the 12-day war and Donald Trump's decision to break with his Republican and Democratic predecessors, and with all the experts, I might add, who argued that if you strike Iranian nuclear sites, there will be a regional war. Well, there wasn't a regional war. Donald Trump reaped tremendous cred. But again, the question you asked needs to be followed by another one, and that is, what motivates Donald Trump? So I think what would compel him would be his conclusion that the Netanyahu government was not serious at all about ending this war, a degree of embarrassment that the president was now perceived to be weak in the face of an Israeli government that continued its military operations. That, or if ending the war in Gaza was a road or a pathway to something else that would make Donald Trump's fight with Israel worthwhile.
We talk a lot about what America can do and what the president could do to feasibly end this war. Where are the Gulf states in this, Aaron? Where is Bahrain? Where is Egypt? Where is Qatar? Where is the UAE? Where is Iran? Where are all these supposed allies of the Gazans as we're continuing to see the atrocities that are felt on the ground in Gaza?
I've had a conversation with myself on this issue. It is extraordinary to me that all of the countries you mentioned, particularly Israel's treaty partners, Jordan and Egypt, who have suffered as a consequence of the Arab-Israeli conflict, have done nothing to impose a single cost or consequence, either on Israel or on the United States. And they need to play a critically important role, not just in terms of reconstruction assistance. Egyptians have a role to play with respect to trying to figure out a security structure in Gaza that makes sense. The Gulf states, I muse what would happen if Donald Trump called up his good friend Mohammed bin Salman, a.k.a. MBS, and said, we're going on a little trip, and I want you to bring every Arab foreign minister with him. We're going to Jerusalem, and you're going to stand before the Knesset, and you're going to say to the Israeli people, I'm ready for a regional peace that can endure over time. Here's what I need, but here's my hand. What is required is boldness along with ownership here.
I was going to say, Aaron David Miller, from your mouth to whoever you believes in ears. We'll end on that note. Thank you.
Yasmin, thank you. Thank you so much.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.